projecting Miami to finish 8-4. Its power index has Miami ranked at 29th in the country. I don't think that's horribly out of bounds, but I certainly rate this football team to be better than the 29th rated team in the country. And anytime I see a ranking or a power index, power ranking, whatever you want to call it, going into the season, my first question for whomever, and you really can't answer this, Cam, unless you've seen this stated somewhere, whether that entity is taking that team's schedule into account. Of course, they are with the record projection at 8-4, but in regards to a ranking, so I will rank the teams at some point, and that's not a prediction. That will not be a prediction of the way the season is going to wind up. That, for me, is telling everyone these who I believe are the 25 best teams in the country in this order. Now, the 5th best team in the country may play a brutal schedule and finish 9-3, but that's one way to approach it. I don't know what the ESPN Power Index is. I would think that they are ranking Miami to be the 29th best team in the country, but as soon as I see a record attached, obviously the schedule would factor into that projection.
Yeah, and we were talking about this right before we came on. I don't see where they're coming from at all. I honestly do not. It's unless, I mean, if you're looking backwards at where Miami was, I can see carrying the 2018 season program, philosophy, everything forward and saying, okay, this is where Miami was. I'm using that basis logically to project where they're going to be, not with any changes. So not where they are, i.e., I mean, there's only 3 assistant coaches are the only ones in the same roles from last year. That'd be Ephraim Banda. Actually, and he's not even in the same role because he's co-defensive coordinator now, but he coaches safeties. Jonathan Pack, he coaches outside linebackers, but now he's a special teams coordinator, so he has a secondary assignment that was not his last year. And Mike Rumpf. So if you're talking about it, there's one coach on staff who's doing exactly what they did last year. Mike Rumpf coaching cornerbacks. Every single other coach on this staff, even with guys returning, Manny Diaz going from DC to head coach, Ephraim Banda bumping up to co-defensive coordinator, which is the 1A defensive coordinator, and John Packey's still taking special teams. Every other coach is new or doing something different. Like to look back in 2018 and have it be 100% predictive of 2019 is asinine because just on the coaching side, every position, 10 of the 11 coaching positions have changed or changed. Those individuals have changed responsibilities. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with a lot of things. Preview to the remix. I did a Miami preview for a website or a magazine or something, and you'll see that. I'll talk about that more when it comes out. But they had projections for the win-loss record in the ACC, and I had to write back to the guy who contracted me to do that, and I said I disagree with these projections. So where do we go from here? Because I can write what you want me to write based upon these projections that I don't believe in, or I can go on what I believe. But we got to make a choice because either I'm predicting or I'm filling in, for what you want. I filled in for what they wanted because, they're paying me for it. But insofar as ESPN 8-4, I don't see it. 8-4 record, first of all, is borderline unacceptable. No. It is unacceptable for Miami this year based upon the schedule. And also as well, in addition, of 8-4 record means you lost to Florida and Florida State and found a way to lose 2 more games in the ACC. So you're looking at 5-3 in conference and losing to Florida. I don't see it. I don't. I think that Miami is going to be better than 29th overall. I think that Miami should be pushing for a 10-win season in that 9-3, 10-2 range. I vacillate every day between whether I think it's going to be 9-3 or 10-2. But that's where I am with it. So yeah, 8-4. I mean, I'm more towards the 10-2 side personally. So 8-4 is 100% more losses than what I'm thinking. That's a big difference, and I don't see it because again, I think that you can look at things 3 ways. One, you can look at the past and you can base it on that. Like I said, you can look at the present as in where Miami is and base it on that, which is fairly unknown because the whole offensive, the transfer portal bringing in all these different guys, the whole offensive staff and scheme changing and things like that. Or you can project where you think that they're going to be. I don't see how either where Miami is or where you project them to be. I don't see how any of those can lead you to 8-4 personally. So, I mean, hey, if whoever it is, if ESPN wants me to bet on it, then I'll bet on it. But because even short of that, 9-3 instead of 8-4, yeah. But I mean, I don't see 4 losses on the schedule. Like there's just okay. You got Florida non-conference, but the other 3 non-conference teams are we're going to blow them out. That's Central Michigan, FIU, and Bethune-Cookman. Yeah, those are all 3 blowouts. So now, if you're talking about 4 losses, now you got to lose more games in the ACC. So that means you got to lose to North Carolina, trash. Louisville, trash. Florida State, trash. But that game always threw out the records because it's a rivalry. So fine. Georgia Tech, super trash. Virginia, trash, even though we let them win 16-13 because we couldn't put any points on the board, and that's a terrible team. Virginia Tech then lost 20 guys off of their roster. We're supposed to lose to them. Pittsburgh, garbage. Like Duke, garbage. Like who are we supposed to find all these losses to? I don't get it. And I know I'm sounding like cocky Miami fan, but we have so much more talent than these teams and a coach who wants to be here and has this same kind of fire and passion that you're hearing out of my voice. So this is not Mark Rick's Canes. Manny Diaz was doing everything he could on defense last year to try and even have the team score points. Jonathan Garvin had a fumble return for a touchdown against Virginia Tech. So he even had his unit going out there to score points to try to help win games. But Mark Rick was intractable on that terrible damn offense that we had last year and didn't find a way to put up points. I don't see that being the case. Dan Enos is coming here and he's continuing to try to rehabilitate his image after having been fired from Central Michigan as their head coach. And eventually, if he wants a job at a Power 5 school, this is the path to that. Just like Manny Diaz came here to continue his re-imaging. Dan Enos is here for that too. And Dan Enos, he's a fellow Michigander. He's from Dearborn, Michigan. He knows quarterbacks. He knows offense. You think that he's going to sit around and stay stagnant with 13 points a game? Absolutely not. And I think that that's what ESPN has to be thinking, that this is the exact same offense with the exact same people, including that terrible, horrible, no good, very bad quarterback, Malik Rozier. But that's not who we have. We have a 5-star in Tate Martell. We have a high 4-star in N'Kosi Perry, who broke all of Dante Culpepper's records in high school. And we have an All-American in Jaron Williams, a 4-star kid also, who might even be the best pure passer out of those 3. And those are the guys competing for quarterback. So if you look at all of these things, I don't see where, logically, if you're looking at where Miami is or where Miami will be, how you can get to 8-4. But maybe that's just me. And we'll see what happens.
So I'm trying to figure a few things out based on what I see, but also some things are coming to mind in regards to my knowledge of the Football Power Index by ESPN, and it's not a in-depth knowledge, believe me. But I put a few things together in looking at the projected record versus the ranking. So the ranking speaks strictly to how good ESPN believes those teams to be. So, for example, Auburn is number 9 in the country. And they are projected to win only 7.7 games because their schedule's brutal.
Oh yeah, it is.
They got to play Auburn. They got to play they got to play Oregon. They play the SEC Western Division, of course, Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M, of course. They also have Florida and Georgia from the SEC Eastern Division. They've got the 2 toughest teams. They got a brutal schedule. So ESPN is basically saying, we believe Auburn, if everyone played exactly the same schedule, they are the 9th best team in the country. But because they play this brutal schedule, they're only going to win 7.7 games. Whereas they have Oregon 1 spot lower at number 10, but project them to win 9.7 games. So those are separate. Okay. It's not a situation where we're factoring the schedule into the final ranking. So I misspoke in saying ESPN had Miami ranked 29th. I was reading a headline. The headline was wrong, 27th, 2 spots higher. But there was a wrong headline that I was looking at that said 29th. It's 27th. I'm looking at the list right here. So I do know, Cam, that I believe that the formula is a bit rigid in this way. If you lose a coach, if you're changing coaches and changing quarterbacks, which we don't know, that's a potential to have happened based on your evaluation of the starting quarterback last year. Of course, N'Kosi Perry's coming back, so he wasn't the full-time starter last year. So you're somewhat losing a starting quarterback, but you're losing a bad one in Malik Rozier. But you're also uncertain as to whether he's going to win the job. So I'll take another team, your favorite program, by example here. This is a bit ludicrous. If you really look at the status of rosters in the country, Ohio State's number 13 according to the Power Index. Okay, maybe they'll finish 13th in the country. We don't know. They certainly could. They play a tough schedule. They could go 9-3. But I got to think that most football observers believe that they have one of the top 3 to 5 rosters in the nation. But there's changing coaches and they're changing quarterbacks, and I've heard that is monumental in these rankings.
Okay. Well, I mean, those are super gigantic factors. But yeah, I mean, even at 27th, that means today, right now, there are 26 teams that you would line up on the field against Miami who would beat Miami. I don't see it. I don't see 26. You know what I mean? Like, I see some: Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. That school, I mean, Michigan, the school in the state south of Michigan, Oklahoma, maybe Texas. So I'm at 8 already. I mean, yeah, I could see like high teens, but like there's no way for me to sit here right now and say that I see 26 teams that neutral field, like everything being equal, same amount of turnovers, but just like straight down, but they're going to execute better and win. I don't see 26 teams in the country on that list. I don't see it.
I think there's a ton of parity past. So if Miami marched out against Alabama or Clemson, I think those two programs have distinguished themselves, unless we see something different in the next 3 to 4 months, that I would be very surprised if Miami won that game.
Right.
A group of teams, and you mentioned them, that I would be surprised if Miami beat them, but I wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't be like, wow, this can't happen.
Right.
I would be surprised. I would think that those schools that you mentioned, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan, LSU, would have about a 75% chance of winning that game, would win it most of the time. But I would be shocked. The talent discrepancy is not great. Then there's a glut of teams that,
I mean, honestly,
and Iowa State and Utah and
these. Come on. I mean, that's like 50-50 at most. Like Iowa State, like, yeah, they got Brock Purdy and everything, and they play hard, for Matt Campbell, but whatever. I mean, shoot, Utah, I mean, they do have guys from South Florida, Zach Moss, their running back from Hallandale, who was committed to Miami at one time, Tyler Huntley, who Miami did not recruit at quarterback, who was he played quarterback at Hallandale, and eventually Zach Moss got there as a senior, and he's going to be a senior now out there and everything. And like, yeah, they have a tough defense and everything like that. But I mean, that's like a toss-up at most. Like, I'm not going to sit here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a
right. Yeah, like that's right. But I'm not going to
pack of teams between like 12 and 30 that are difficult to distinguish.
Yeah, I mean,
they're very difficult to distinguish.
But I would still put Miami towards the top end of that. I'm not saying like right at 12, but like I was saying, when I was just counting off the top of my head, somewhere in the mid to upper teens is where I would put Miami if I were doing that list. But at 27, I can't get behind that. But, hey, I don't work for ESPN, so whatever.
So Miami's at 27. I'm going to read off the teams above Miami, and I'll give you my quick synopsis, and then we'll circle back to you. So right above Miami is Iowa State at 26. I think that game would be a toss-up. USC's at 25. The talent's extremely comparable. Of course, the Trojans were a mess last year, much like a Florida State was a mess last year. Texas is at 24. I'm surprised that they're that low.
Ditto. They should be higher.
Iowa's at 23. Okay. Utah's at 22. Florida State's at 21.
Get out of my face with that. I'm done. I don't want to hear anything else. Seriously, I'm not even joking. Let's go on to the next topic because I'm getting mad. No, seriously. Go on to the next topic because I'm going to get mad.
I name one other team.
Nope. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Team
I don't want to hear it. Go on.
They have 4 letters in their name. That's
next
all.
question.
And they play in the Pac-12.
Next
I
question.
can't believe, and they went 3-9 last year.
Next question.
All right. Now we got Cam Underwood on the line from State of the U. Please join him and the rest of the crew as they get you set for ACC kickoff next week.
They did not have UCLA up there, whatever.
Number 20.
Get out. Next
They went
topic.
3-9 last year, and I don't see any obvious changes that would make you believe that they're going to be that much better. They've got Tennessee at 15.
That's laughable. Next question.
It is a bit much.